Check. 1, 2. Greg Oz, and now Larry Mitchell on electric guitar.
Check 1, 2. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. I've been in the studio recording with my friend Joe Gable all day, and I played a little guitar, very little guitar. I played some bass. I think I played more bass today than I did guitar. So I'm trying to get my hands together. All right, I remembered to change the privacy to public on Facebook, so we got some Facebook people on tonight. Facebook does that to me every week. BMP on Facebook. Hey, we got Ron Paget on Twitch. Thank you, BMP. Rocky, hey Rocky Holbrook. Rocky's on Twitch. I think I saw you say you hadn't heard this from Political Rain. You hadn't heard? That's from my first record. The song I just played is from my first record 35 years ago. 35 years ago. Wow. Twitch and DF Dub. Dallas in the house. I'll be at the Dallas International Guitar Festival first weekend in May. I don't know what the dates are. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that. The first weekend. First weekend in May. Jeannie Thompson. Jeannie's coming to the Opelika Songwriters Festival, so I'm playing the Opelika Songwriters Festival this weekend. And I see, Thursday night is the opening night, but Friday is the first day. And I'm playing with Katie Martin and Randy Driscoll at the Irish Bread Pub, downtown Opelika. The Songwriters Festival takes over all of downtown. I'll be there with Randy Driscoll and Katie Martin. We're all playing, I guess, in a round upstairs at the Irish Bread Pub if you come into the festival. And I think that is at, I don't know. I just had it up there. What time is it? Let's see if I can get that. Nope. That's for next week. Where is it? Here we go. And Friday, 5:30. 5:30 at the Irish Bread Pub. And then later on that night at 10:30, I am hosting my Songwriters Jam. We got Tony James on the drums and Austin Solomon on bass. Maybe you can coach Randy into playing some keyboards. Got lots of guest performers that are part of the festival performing. And we're going to do some songs you know. Yeah, that's what we're going to do for the jam. I think I saw Kevin on here. The Music Heals. Kevin, you coming up? Awesome. Brett's on Twitch. Margaret's on from Atlanta. She's on YouTube. Karma Gaines. Karma's on. Karma, where are you out of? Are you out of Germany? I can't remember where you're. I don't remember where you're watching from. Barbara George in New Jersey. Jeannie's in Montgomery, Alabama. Trippy is a hippie, which is Zoe, is in Dallas, right? And I remember to play Political Rain for you, and you requested it on Sunday, but Sunday's acoustic night. Hi, Lou. Lou Lasher is on YouTube. Live music in Australia. Brisbane, right? Brisbane. Yes, I love it. Thanks for watching. Raleigh's on in Sheridan, Wyoming. Excuse me. So Raleigh and I are doing an event for autism by an organization called Reach in Sheridan, Wyoming on the 12th. I think Raleigh posted the link to tickets if anybody's going to be out that way. Next month, April, is Autism Awareness Month. And so I'll be in Where am I? I am in Tallahassee, Florida, next Thursday, doing an event for, where is it? For FSU Card and Art for All. It's an autism event. Right. Oh, uh-oh. Don't have thousands of pictures on your devices, and none of them are right. Oh, I know where it is. Downloads. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, maybe I can't get to it from here. Nope, 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 nope. All right, I can't get to it. That is, so next week is, whoops. Next week is at Florida State University, and it's free, but it's limited. It's like, I don't know how many tickets, but seats. But you have to register to get tickets. They are free, but you got to register to get tickets. I don't know if you could see the link on there or the address of the website, but you go to Florida State University, FSU, and see if you can find the link. Southern Summer Rain on YouTube. Thank you. Robin Neff, surgery. Wow. Hope you're healing. Peter Wolf. Hey, Peter. Peter's on from Nags Guitars. Oh, I got my Nag shirt on too. Just realized that. Holly Ray is on. Hi, Holly Ray. Who else is on? Hey, Stephen in New York on YouTube. Good night, Stephen. And good night, other Stephen, too. Kathy in Rancho Cucamonga. You know, Kathy, I think I told you this before, but so I grew up with Bugs Bunny. And I always heard him talking from here to Rancho Cucamonga. And when I got my license way back in 1999, yes, I was 30-something years old when I got my license. I'm from New York. I was driving on that toll road from San Diego to LA. I forgot what it's called. And I passed a sign for Rancho Cucamonga and almost drove off the road. I didn't realize that was a real place. I thought it was a Bugs Bunny place. But now I know that's where Mel Blanc grew up, right? Or lived. So, yeah, that's just every time I think about that, I was like, Rancho Cucamonga. What a name. Dixon Cox. Yes, Nags Guitars. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I was going to play a couple of the other guitars tonight, but I'm feeling comfortable with this one. And Joe has my other one, the black one, going over stuff for the record. Defcon Clock, no Starlight. You know why? Because I can't remember it. I have to like listen to it to remember the parts. No, I can't remember. Defcon Clock, I don't even caught the new one, Sonic Bloom. It's still working. It's going to be working. It's in progress. But that's what I started with tonight. In fact, I'm going to end with it too because I'm trying to remember it. And it's just a jam. It really is just a jam. Thank you, Brett. Brett's in Oregon. My mom's on. Our Thelma's on. Janet's on. Zoe, I will be back. I'll be at the Dallas Guitar Festival. And I'm trying to actually with Scott, who plays bass with me, and on G Brat's guitars, We're trying to do some. They're trying to include me in some shows there. Hey, Bonnie Troy. Bonnie's in Pensacola. Oh, Brenton from Australia, BMP. Got it. Hey, just saw that. Trippy is a hippie. Zoe, do I have a favorite life to play? Political Rain is probably one of my all-time favorite songs to play. I wrote that in 98, 99, 98, and played it. It's on my first record. It came out in 1990. It's on a couple other things as well. And then after that, it's probably Tunnel and Unforgotten. Cosmic Tears, those are my favorites to play. ISO Blue. You know, it's weird because ISO Blue, I played, it's on the second record, and then I played it, then I didn't play it for like 10 years, and then I started playing it. Yes, I played it a lot in San Diego with the band, and then I didn't play it through most of the time I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which was 10 years. I didn't play that many shows of mine. Played with other people, but not many of my shows. Then I started playing it towards the end of New Mexico, which I always said feels like I should have written it when I lived in New Mexico because we had horses there, and it feels like a horse song to me. Andrew Phillips, if my Godin guitar broke, quarter-inch jack, not sending signal, who would take it to? How did it break? If it's just electronic stuff, you can go to most shops, and they're pretty competent on fixing stuff. If it's a wood thing, then that's trickier. But you mean here in Opelika? I go to American Guitar Boutique in because my friend Tim owns that in Phoenix City, Alabama. Spice's Music is right down the road. They do great stuff. My friend Wade, who used to work at Spice's Music, is a really good friend of mine. Cousin Wade. We have the same mixing console, and he's built a bunch of things for me in the studio. Actually, a bunch of stuff he's built for me in the studio. He's great at fixing electronic stuff and wood. That's kind of rare. He's good at fixing wood and wood problems and electronic stuff. I'm not sure where are you at, Andrew? I'm trying to think of where to send you to. I'm not sure where to send you to. Boise, Idaho? I don't know anyone that repairs guitars in Idaho. I'm pretty sure there's some very qualified people there, but I have no idea. I've been to Idaho a few times. Yeah, I've been to Idaho quite a few times actually, but never had any guitars repaired there. All right, it's time to say goodnight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I gotta get some rest for this weekend. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be fun though. thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to end a little bit of that new piece again so I can get it under my fingers and actually get to recording guitar parts for it. I like to end the shows with live streams with when I gave all my love and I've gone home, they'll say I was here and I put a little dent in fear and that I made someone smile. I hope I made you guys smile tonight. Yeah, thank you Twitch and DF Dub, Del Palmer, Dixon. All right, good night. Good night, guys. Stay safe, healthy, and happy.